I'm Alicia Butler-Pierre, and in this season of the Business Infrastructure Podcast, we are touring 12 specific countries to find out what's it like to do business in those countries. Next up on our tour is Poland. Now, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you go ahead and click on the subscription box down below now and click that notification bell so that you'll know exactly when the next episode will air. But for now, let's go ahead and find out what is it like to do business in Poland. After basking in the tropical paradise of Bali, Indonesia, we're now aboard Equilibria Airlines, headed on yet another long flight. This time, we're headed to Krakow, the second largest city in Poland, which is situated in Central Eastern Europe. We're looking forward to taking in the architecture, the food, and of course, how to do business there. I'm Alicia Butler-Pierre, and this is Season 18 of the Business Infrastructure Podcast, the show where we share operational tips, tactics, and tools for curing back-office blues. This particular trip to Poland is especially important to me because we're meeting someone that I've come to call a trusted advisor and friend. He's going to give us a no-holds-barred account of what it's like to really do business in Poland and why the small business community is thriving there. I'm excited, and I hope that you are too. This episode is underwritten by Equilibria Incorporated, the company behind this podcast, where we design scale-ready business infrastructure for fast-growing small businesses. We've landed at the John Paul II International Airport in Krakow. As we make our way through to the baggage claim area, we see a well-dressed man with a bright smile. It's Ben Esmael, and he's here to pick us up and drive us to a shared services center where he has an office. As he drives us from the airport to our meeting location, we can't help but notice the beautiful buildings and picturesque landscaping. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk business. And on that note, this is episode 228, Doing Business in Poland with Ben Esmael. Ben, I'm so glad we're finally able to catch up again. Of course, I know who you are, but tell the folks who are listening right now who don't know you.
Thank you, Alicia. It's really, really exciting. I still remember our episode together previously, so I'm really, really looking forward to this one with you on the show. So my name is Ben Esmael, and I am originally from Libya, but I've been calling Poland a home since 2015.
Now, that's a story I'm sure you'd like to know more about. How did Ben go from growing up in Libya to calling Poland, a country with a population 5 times larger, home?
Technically, the story started in 2009 when I finished my bachelor's degree back home in Libya. And I got the opportunity to work with Total, the oil company. And through that, they had created a program, they call it 100 Talent. And that program basically goes through a cycle of tests and interviews, etc., to qualify for the final round of 100. And I remember that we were only 3 actually that has a finance background or accountancy, and the remaining 97 were engineers in different fields, oil, energies, mechanics, electronics, and all of these things. The only 3 people finance made the cut through. How that's even possible? Because the exam that I have created, it's very complex for somebody who did a finance. It's very easy for somebody who did engineering because the mathematics was suitable for them. But for us, it was really difficult. But the story is that 3 of us actually done 2 years in engineering and then dropped off to change universities. So that's the only way we made it through the 2 years and got into that program.
So Ben is accepted into the 100 Talent program, which lands him in France.
So it's a 3 years scholarship, but you qualify for each year independently. Meaning, if you don't get the right level of French to qualify for a master degree, you lose immediately your scholarship. Equally, the first year in the master, if you don't succeed in all of your classes and you'll be allowed to go to the second year, according to the French education system, You basically disqualify, you don't continue. And then I learned French, of course, did a master degree in wealth management, but the minor is the finance and banking. And I stayed and lived in France for a while. I worked there as well in the finance sector. And then moved to Austria.
While living in Austria, Ben worked for the multinational petroleum organization, OPEC. But unfortunately, his time there didn't last long. Oil prices crashed, and as a junior employee, he soon lost his job.
This is how I landed in Poland. I just was looking for a job, and I was doing like 50 interviews a day. My wife used to laugh at me saying, "Oh, how many interviews done today?" So yeah, I ended in Poland, and I since then called it a home.
And why Poland? I'm curious.
There's not a specific reason why it was Poland. I was applying for everywhere. I just needed a job. I was living in Austria at that time. It's very expensive living in Vienna. I can't live on for that long in my saving. And I've did many interviews in many countries, and the first offer came from IBM. And second, I remember, was HP. Both of them, they were in Poland. And this is how I made the decision to move in.
Interesting. Did the thought ever occur to you to go back home to Libya?
No, I'm kind of a runaway kid. So I grew up in a very traditional family, and I remember my father say, "You get your freedom when you get your diploma on the wall." That's what he was telling me. It's like no freedom before you finish your school. So the moment I finished my school, I call it freedom.
And with his newfound freedom after finishing school, Ben actually did go back home to work in Libya, Tripoli to be exact. He worked as a management consultant for the investment complex for building materials, also known as Encoma. He worked there for nearly 5 years before relocating to Austria.
The situation back home in the country wasn't really stable after the civil war in 2011. So that's added a layer of not having that desire to go back, because the question was always, if you go back to do what?
Okay, so let's go back to you starting to work at IBM in Poland. What type of visa did you have to have? Did IBM help you secure a work visa?
Yeah, that's correct. So in Poland, as many other European countries, now the process gets more similar within the European Union, and I think even broadly in other Western countries as well. So when you get a job, technically they get you a type of sponsorship. So they apply on your behalf for working visa. So I didn't need to do that because I have a permanent residency from France. So for me, the process is much easier. I didn't need that to start to work and then do only a work permit as a foreigner. I didn't need to go through the whole cycle, but for everyone else, so the employer will apply on your behalf of a work visa. And then once you get the work visa, along with it, you get the work permit. And until then, you can't start the work, basically.
Ben worked as a senior reporting accountant at IBM for about 2 years in Krakow, Poland. During that time, he worked on the entire cycle of mergers and acquisitions and soon yearned for new work challenges. This led him to leave IBM and accept a job at another global giant.
It wasn't really a financial questions or promotions. It's rather than I was looking for a new adventure, a new experience to learn and be of value.
I hope you enjoyed watching this video. You can catch the full interview by going to businessinfrastructure.tv or by clicking the link below in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe so that you'll know exactly when the next episode drops. See you in the next video.
Join us next week for another episode of Business Infrastructure with Alicia Butler-Pierre.